Welcome to the Madras Motor Racetrack and the MRF Challenge. It's the final race of the day here, but more importantly, it's the final race of the season for the 2000s. On the grid, we have in P1, Patrick Pasma, and here's the important thing. In P2, it's Max Tiffoni, and in P3, it's Jamie Chadwick. So it is still open and anyone's game. I'm gonna go down and see if I can speak to Max quickly, because we haven't really had a word with him so far this weekend, actually. He's been putting in some fast times. Max, it all comes down to this race. What can you do?
I just need to do my best and win the race and go for the fastest lap, and then after I can't control what the others do.
Okay, well that's his goal. Race win and fastest lap, and I'll quickly have a word with Jamie before we have to clear the grid. Jamie, thoughts going into this final race?
Yeah, I think just treat it as any other race, do the best I can, get as many points as I can, and we'll see where we end up at the end.
Very calm and cool from Jamie there. David Addison is your commentator for this race. David, it's over to you.
Louise, thanks very much. Yes, we are set for a race, the final race of the championship, and it could be a history-making race as well, with this potential championship to be won by Jamie Chadwick. It's in a sense wrong to keep banging on about the fact that it's a woman winning a championship, but it happens in international single-seater racing so rarely that it's impressive that Jamie has done so well, especially given how she's come on in the last 12 months or so in single-seaters. If you go back to the likes of Ellen Law, who was very successful in German Formula 3, or Claudia Hertgen as other excellent racing drivers, then there are many before that have done a great job, but that's mainly been in the likes of saloons or sports cars, or even rallying as well, which female competitors have always had a very good track record in. But let us see what happens over the next 20 laps that we have in prospect. The grid is being cleared. There is going to be the final formation lap. Things running rather late here, I have to confess, because there was a sizable accident in the earlier MRF Challenge race, and it meant that we have lost from this Josh Mason because of the damage done to the car. We've also had pushed off the grid one of the cars that he was involved with, the car of Sebastian Essner. As far as the championship is concerned, it's 18 points between Jamie Chadwick and Max Tiffoni, which is how they came at the start of the weekend, 18 points the margin, the other way around. So Jamie, who's had 2 race wins, has consistently looked quicker than Max, whether it's been in the normal races or the reverse grid races. And as the 3-minute board has just been shown, the next one is going to be for starting engines, and then we will be ready to go. So there is Max Tiffoni. One more formation lap, as I say, then we'll be underway, running about an hour behind here, but won't be long, hopefully, before we get this championship showdown underway. So what can Max Tiffoni do in terms of a race winner? Well, that remains to be seen, but Jamie Chadwick is very definitely in the box seat as far here as the championship is concerned, because she has the advantage. She needs a really bad result, and it's got to be an exceptional result from Max Tiffoni to play around with the championship situation. But anything can happen. The green flag is waved, and away they all blast now. So Patrick Pasma is the man on pole position. This grid, just to make the point, is based on a driver's fastest lap time across the course of the weekend. And Patrick Pasma took 2 fastest laps in the race that he won. And of course, it helps if you're at the front of the grid in order to do that. So he was very good in the 2 races, one yesterday, one this morning, which helped him to score victory and get the fastest lap, and therefore 2 extra points that you get for those as well. So if Tiffoni were to win and get fastest lap, that would give him 27, but he needs Jamie Chadwick to go backwards in order for things to change here. Let's find out what's going to get the championship resolved. This is how they line up. Pasma and Tiffoni at the front. Chadwick has Linus Lundqvist, the BLDC British F3 champion, there on the outside of that road. Then you've got Michelangelo Amendola, and alongside him is Jack Doohan. Then it's Andreas Essner and Dylan Young, with Glenn van Berlo and Valdemar Eriksson to round out the top 10. And a 30-second time penalty for number 18, Rima Al Jafali, for cutting the blend line at pit lane exit twice. So even before the race starts, Rima Al Jafali, who is at the back of the grid anyway, is going to be given a penalty. So as the cars head now into turn 8, there she is, but she's going to be a rather frustrated driver, to say the least. In fairness, it's a very big ask to get the kind of result that the more experienced drivers have, because she's only been racing for a handful of months. Road licenses are pretty rare, never mind race licenses in Saudi Arabia for ladies, but already a penalty has been given. So we are ready to go. And the grid is formed just about at the front. Pressure on off the line here. You have got to make a good start. It's been the undoing of some. Jamie Chadwick's starts have been really good thus far this weekend. The gap on the grid is prevalent where there is no Sebastian Essner. There's also the battle on for third in the championship, because his brother Andreas Essner is only a point ahead of Patrick Pasma, so there's that to watch for as well, as the cars then re-grid, and let's hope this is going to be a good, clean way to end the championship. The MRF Challenge for 2018-19 is good to go. 5 red lights are on. The lights go out now. It is blast off, and Pasma bogs down, and so does Deforny, and Jamie Chadwick goes between the pair of them on the way down towards turn 1. Linus Lundqvist tries to follow suit. Deforny is going backwards. Pasma didn't make a demon start either, and as they get through turn 1, Deforny has lost a whole heap of places. That's a dreadful drag to the first corner for him. He hasn't just lost 1 or 2, he's lost heaps of places. Max Deforny tumbles down the field, and Jamie Chadwick leads the way. If you're going to win a championship, win the race that goes with it, and Jamie Chadwick is up front there as she accelerates here up through the S's then for the first time. 20 laps ahead of us, and Jamie Chadwick it is who leads the pack. In second it looks like being Linus Lundqvist as they come through turn 4. And there is number 7, Chetan Karada, getting up past Rima Al Jafali as they wriggle up to turn 6 for the first time. Their third is Pasma, 4th is Amendola, 5th looks like being Andreas Essner, so he will lose third in the championship to Pasma by being behind him. Jack Doohan is ahead of Max Deforny next up as they come through now, turn 6 for the first time. But the race leader, Jamie Chadwick, has got a man she's raced against all of last season. Linus Lundqvist behind, and he locks up. Lundqvist oh so nearly into the back of it. That would have changed things, wouldn't it? But they survived. Deforny is under attack from Dylan Young here, and another disappointing race for Max Deforny. So down they come into turn 10 at the end of the opening tour. Now, can Linus Lundqvist find a way by? He doesn't want to affect the championship, far from it, but he'd like a race win. He's not come here just for a tan. And so as they accelerate up towards turn 11 for the first time, it is Jamie Chadwick leading from Linus Lundqvist. In third place there is Patrick Pasma. Fourth is Michelangelo Amendola in the red car. Behind him, it is Andreas Essner, then Jack Doohan goes through. He's 6th. 7th is currently Deforny. Everybody funnels through turn 1. There's Chetan Karada ahead of the Saudi driver, Rima Al Jafali, and in from the pit lane has come Sebastian Essner. So he is in, and also in for the pit lane is Josh Mason, whose car looks very different now because that has got lots of different coloured panels on it. So the two of them have gone out rather delayed, but they are in the race nonetheless. They turn their way through the turn 6 right-hander. Jamie Chadwick leading, but at the moment not getting away from Linus Lundqvist. Now what does she do? Does she try and stay ahead? Does she defend if she needs to, or does she let him go and just stay ahead of Deforny to make sure of the championship? We'll find out. She's got a lot of race left to go, and it could well be that as the cars get into a rhythm, so she can stretch the advantage anyway. Patrick Pasma might be the danger in all of this to Lundqvist, though, because the Finn is catching the Swede. There is Deforny on the back of the Australian Jack Doohan. The 3 race leaders come blasting their way into turn 10, though. Jamie Chadwick, Linus Lundqvist, and then Patrick Pasma. Not that far back is Michelangelo Amendola. And through they sweep once again here. So Chadwick it is, champion-elect, race leader, up through the final right-hander. down through turn 1 yet again. Max Deforney staring at the back of Jack Doohan's car. The fastest lap, Patrick Pasma. Remember, that's 2 points in the championship. So he's gone through and going strongly at the moment. Jamie Chadwick starting to just edge away slightly here as they come up towards turn 4. She was 0.6 of a second ahead at the start of this third lap. But Lundqvist and Pasma still chasing. Through they come together then now, blasting up towards turn 6. There's Doohan. Jack Doohan with the green and blue car, keeping Deforney at bay. But Lundqvist quicker than anybody in the first sector, trying to get back onto terms with Chadwick. Pasma, we know he's quick behind because he's done the fastest lap of the race. There is Deforney hunting down Jack Doohan, but at the moment unable to get close enough to make a move. And now there's also this psychological aspect, isn't there, for Deforney? He knows the championship's gone. He knows his best chance of getting away well from second on the grid, completely squandered. Second on the grid and he's running 7th. Absolutely popped start. Arun Mammon, change of shirt, watches on. The Amendola family behind him looking at the big screens as well. But Max Deforney now somehow to get his head together and regroup and try and salvage something out of this. But it really has been a very undercooked weekend, sadly, for Amanda. In Formula Renault, when he came into car racing a few years back, looked mighty impressive as a teenager and had a certain style and a grace about his driving. But it's just been really underwhelming this weekend, oddly, for whatever reason. Leaders go through. And it is Chadwick from Lundqvist, 7/10. Jamie Chadwick doing the fastest lap of the race now. Jamie Chadwick, fastest lap as she goes over the timing line. Lundqvist second, Pasma third. Amendola is 4th, 5th is Esner, A, and 6th is Doohan. Then it's Deforney, Young, Eriksson, Van Berlo, and Chetan Corrada going through next in the queue. So the field turning up out of turn 4, going also over the timing line a long way back, Riyam Al-Jafali, but experience for her, coming race by race here. Deforney versus Doohan. Now this was almost how it ended in the earlier race today, the middle race of the 3, but again Max Deforney just could not crack there. And the problem you have, granted it's slicks in the wings, but it's a narrow circuit anyway, and there aren't too many long straights where you can really line up, make a move. You get stuck in the dirty air. Now you can overtake, we saw that. Amendola was really brave, for example, going around the outside of Doohan, but that came about because in race 4 of the weekend Jack had made a mistake, so slightly off line, slightly lacking in momentum, and you're easy prey. But to do it on pure pace, Deforney's going to have to work very hard indeed, even though we know he's a quick driver. But Doohan, in his first weekend in these cars, has looked a lot stronger than Deforney, who's right under the gearbox here coming out of turn 10. Dylan Young is behind him. Over the brow, there is Linus Lundqvist, but Jamie Chadwick is away and gone, and the margin all of a sudden is an absolute monster because Lundqvist's got a problem. Linus Lundqvist, he had gear selection problems in race 4 and he's got a problem again in race 5. Past him goes Pasma, past him goes Amendola, and Linus Lundqvist looks as though the problems have hit yet again, and he realises that he ain't going anywhere now. So past him has also now come Esner, past him has gone the Australian Jack Doohan. Deforney and Dylan Young gain a place, and after a weekend that started with so much promise for Linus Lundqvist, it's going to end with so little. The car limps on, and as Jamie Chadwick now has an advantage of 4 seconds over Patrick Pasma. Yes, Max Deforney has just been gifted another place, but it matters not, because as long as he's behind Chadwick, it's game over. Through they turn. There is Doohan, there is Deforney, and they are now fighting for 5th and 6th places. 55 is Jamie Chadwick. She's the race leader, she's the champion elect, and she locks up. That's about the only error I can really think of all weekend we've seen from Jamie. Down through turn 8, still second is Pasma. Third, it will be now Michelangelo Amendola. So a man that's been in the Danish Championship race here last year in the MRF Challenge. That's Doohan and Deforney going way wide out of turn 9, using the tarmac on the cut through in order to steady the traction and then blast back once more down into turn 10. Over the timing line comes Jamie Chadwick. So the race leader has gone by. 3.8 seconds is that margin. Big lockup from Deforney going into turn 3 there. Tally still pushing, And again, he's in the dirty air created by Doohan's car, so suddenly his becomes a rather more difficult car to drive. They're going through his Amendola. Just a quick word about what's going on at the very back of the field. Josh Mason had a monster accident in race 4. The car flipped, he mowed down a barrier, but he's in this race. The car's all very patchwork quilt-like because of different body panels, but the fact that he's on track, and he said to Louise Beckett after that accident, I've got it out of my system now, he has had his big shunt. Well, he's back racing, and if you like, straight back on the bike, get it out of your system. And fair play to Josh, who's still at school, studying for his GCSEs. He's got his exams this year. He's back out and racing. Fair play to him. So we know that Linus Lundqvist is out, and we've also lost Andreas Essner somewhere, according to the timing screen, but that's a fib, because there he is. He's ahead of Doohan. So Essner's another one with transponder maladies, I fear, at the moment, but he is still circulating, and that's important because he's trying to fight Patrick Pasma for third in the championship. But with Pasma being ahead of him, it will go the way of the Finn, Jamie Chadwick, over the timing line. However, as you look at the Doohan Deforney battle, and down they come into turn 12. So Jamie Chadwick is leading the way. She will score by dint of a win in this race if it pays out for her. Not only a third of the weekend, but it's going to be a 6th of the season. 3 wins in Bahrain. In fact, it's going to be a mirror, because the wins that she will have had here will be in the same races, assuming that she wins this race, and there's nothing at the moment to suggest anything other than that being the case. And Max Deforney will go back to Belgium and have a lot of soul searching. He came here as not only the championship leader, but the championship favourite, with all due deference to Jamie Chadwick, but the level at which Max has raced and the success he's had, suggesting that he would be tough to beat. How wrong can the experts be? And we've had some good drives by the likes of Patrick Pasma to take a couple of race wins. We've had good drives by Michelangelo Amendola to score a hat-trick of second places. So lots happened this weekend that perhaps wasn't what was anticipated, but that's part of the beauty of this MRF challenge, that brings drivers from different series around the globe. So there is number 4, that being Jack Doohan. But as I say, you've got drivers coming from British Series, from international single-seater contests, and they all get together here, and then it's fascinating to see who the real gun drivers are. There's one, Patrick Pasma, double winner in the British F4 Championship this season. And as he comes now into the right at turn 2, he accelerates through the corner, sprints on towards the midpoint of this 8th lap of the race. So Lundqvist out. He again has been a surprise, really, in terms of the disappointing results that he's had. But there is Deforney crawling all over the back of Doohan. Jack's looked impressive, and Deforney gets in the draft, but there's just not the width of road. He didn't work out to go left or right there, and in the end he had to stay behind. So opportunity lost there for Max Deforney going up towards turn 4. Onto turn 6 they blast now, and again what Deforney wants to do is try and force an error here out of the Australian ahead of him, Jack Doohan, but it ain't happening, is it? They come now down towards the right-hander into turn 8, and again you see Deforney closes up a little bit under braking. He does draw nearer, but not near enough to challenge. Crawling all over the back, hustling Doohan, getting in his mirrors, getting in his head, trying to make him just look up at the wrong moment, missed that braking point, downshift at the wrong moment, but Jack Doohan withstands the pressure, or does he? Deforney gets all toey up the inside there, but he can't scrap his way through. The leader goes by, Jamie Chadwick, another lap in the book, 2.4 seconds clear. So Chadwick, Pasma, Amendola is the top 3, and yet again all the attention comes on the Doohan-Deforney battle as they run nose to tail. But Jamie Chadwick, British Racing Drivers Club Rising Star member, looks as though she's going to be a race winner and a champion in single-seater racing. Through they accelerate now. There is Deforney. So coming up towards the end shortly of this half-distance lap. cars, headed by Jamie Chadwick, then turn into the right-hander of turn 8. And Jamie, whose initial title, of course, title success, came in the GT4 class of the British GT Championship, not the overall title, but the GT4 title. But it's in the last couple of seasons where she's adapted well to single-seaters in BRD CF3. Also went pretty competitively 2 years back in the Walter Hayes Trophy. And there, 33, Max Deforny, who was a real gun in Formula Renault up until last season, when he had a really disappointing season in terms of results. Only one podium out of the year for MP Motorsport, and he needs to regroup, and we'll see whether he carries on in the single-seater route or goes GT racing, which is where his father's career moved to in the end. So Jamie Chadwick starts lap 10, 1.7 seconds clear at the moment. There is Jack Doohan through, and Doohan keeping Deforny at bay. Behind the pair of them is Dylan Young. So let's see what can happen between those two. Dylan Young presses on, but just hasn't quite got the pace of Deforny, has he? So into the left and the right, they turn now of turns 4 and 5, and it's the same story. Doohan is ahead, and he's rock solid. Deforny doing everything he can to try and find a way past. There, Doohan goes a little bit wide, that's all it takes. Ran ever so slightly offline, a wheel on the dirt, and suddenly he has to try and regroup, and Deforny gets a little bit closer. But on this section of the circuit, there's just not an opportunity to get past. It needs to be coming through a slow corner, if you like, onto a straight. And here, Doohan is able to regroup. Deforny has a look up the inside again to try to unsettle him, to try and force Doohan to brake later, to go deeper into the corner, but it doesn't happen. So Jack very definitely going the car route rather than the motorbike route that his father took, because we've seen him not only in British but German and Italian F4 this year. Comes up now through the left at turn 10, right at turn 11 in a moment to crest the rise. Max Deforny, intriguingly, on this last lap, done the absolute best in the first sector. So as we've seen in previous races, the car does come to him a little bit after a few laps, but by that stage it's too late, the damage is done. He was saying earlier on in the weekend that he was struggling with the correct gearing for this circuit, but others seem to have adapted far easier. There for third is Michelangelo Amendola, who is closing up onto the back now of Patrick Pasma. So that battle is well and truly joined. Through they turn. Amendola closing on Pasma all the while. The gap is 0.8 of a second at the start of this lap. We're on lap number 11. So Rima Al-Jafali with the penalty, Linus Lundqvist out, and of course those two that started in the pit lane. Sebastian Essner is 11th, and Josh Mason currently running in 12th place. So Pasma, who is 1.2 seconds back from Jamie Chadwick now. Is he being able to close a little bit? Because possibly he's being spurred on by seeing Amendola arriving in the mirrors. He's quicker in sector 1, he's quicker in sector 2. Lead gap's coming down a little, therefore. Out of turn 10. Amendola over the rise. That was a corner, turn 11, that's caught out the likes of Doohan and indeed Lundqvist and Deforny over the course of the weekend. Just run a little bit wide up the steep curb, and you are really stuffed for turn 12. There is Jamie Chadwick, who goes through, and the gap is 11/10ths over Patrick Pasma. So it is coming down just ever so slightly, that's for sure. Second place, Pasma. Third, Amendola. Jamie Chadwick sprints on with the other drivers looking quick lower down in sectors. Ben van Baarle, who's another one improving as he gets more familiar. And after his pit lane start, Sebastian Essner, who's not as quick as his brother, his elder brother, but he's learning all the time. The Madras Motor Racetrack, as ever, playing host to a great weekend of action here across not only the MRF Challenge 2-litre cars, but also a host of support races and a bike stunt show. And the support that the track receives from MRF, and indeed for this championship, is very impressive indeed. And for anybody that comes here for the first time, it's a real culture shock, but it's a weekend that they really enjoy. And it's one of the few places where you don't mind how long it takes to get back to the hotel at the end of the day, because just seeing the culture around you is quite something. And Jamie Chadwick will be going home not only having seen a new environment, but also with a huge amount of silverware. So Jamie Chadwick leads the way, 0.7 of a second up. Through the right-hander at turn 2 there goes Patrick Pasma. Now Doohan versus De Forny. 'Twas ever thus. The Australian ahead of the Belgian, and you can understand the frustration that Max De Forny must be having inside this crash helmet and trying to motivate himself now, because overtaking being so hard, championship dream ebbing away, what can he do to fight back? Sebastian Essener, by the way, is being caught by Josh Mason now, so the two pit lane starters are perhaps going to get themselves together for a battle. They tangled in the earlier race 4, which is why it was stopped, why we had the barrier damage, but now the two of them running together, and the battle will be well and truly joined, I think. Into turn 12 comes Jamie Chadwick. The race leader is about to tick off lap number 13, and in the car, in the heat, in these temperatures, on a bumpy track, and with a lot of laps in a day, it's getting very demanding in the car. But Jamie Chadwick rising to the occasion. She is looking impressive for certain. And there behind is Patrick Pasma. Michelangelo Amendola is next in that queue. They are bunching a little. The gap certainly to Patrick Pasma is coming down. Now, is this Jamie Chadwick driving within herself, or is this the conditions, the temperatures, the physicality starting to take its toll, as it would on anybody at the end of a hectic day like this? But Jamie Chadwick then is certainly being caught in the first sector. The gap's down again. Now, she can afford to give away the lead. She can afford to give away second and just keep out of trouble, stay ahead of De Forny, but she would dearly love to win with yet another race win, would she not? Down she comes out of turn number 7. So through the right-hander goes Jamie Chadwick. And behind, you see number 5, that is Patrick Pasma. The gap in the first sector was down, the gap in the second sector was up by a fraction, so it's ebbing and flowing a little bit. Of course, you'll get to the point where Pasma gets so close he's in the dirty air, and then any speed he's got is negated. There goes Amendola, who's got the same problem against Pasma, so he was close and he's had to drop back a little bit, give the car and the tyres a breather. Over the timing line once more goes Jamie Chadwick then. And the race leader ahead of Patrick Pasma, who is being caught by Amendola again. So now Amendola is 6/10 back. There go the 3 race leaders. And out of turn 2, Jamie Chadwick looking strong, continuing to hold sway up front. What have we had? 1 brake lock, that's about it in terms of negative things you can point out all weekend, never mind this one race. Been mighty, very, very impressive. And where is Max De Forny out of all of this? He is 11 seconds back. There he is. Yes, he's stuck behind Jack Doohan, and Jack Doohan has lost a lot of ground, 5 seconds against Andreas Essener. Patrick Pasma second in the race, heading now for 3rd in the championship, so he too is going to benefit at the end of all of this. Jamie Chadwick on target for the win. She drove for the Douglas Motorsport team when she first came into the F4 category. Sorry, for Double R, and then moved to Douglas Motorsport, I should say. But right now, it is Patrick Pasma, Arden's F4 charge of last year, who is looking for a way by, and having dropped back a little bit, he has certainly caught up once again, and now this is going to be a fascinating test of Jamie Chadwick. Class winner in the Silverstone 24 Hours, Jamie, as well as GT4 champion in the UK Series, coming up towards the timing line now. It was 0.8 of a second last time, and this gap now is half a second. Can Pasma strike? Can he get another win, a 3rd of the weekend? They both had 2. These are the only 2 winners we've had here in India this weekend this year. And through they turn, with now the number of laps ticking on down. Michelangelo Amendola in third place, dropping away a little bit as the cars now head up towards turn 4 once again. Teams, families watching the big screens, fascinated by this late race charge of Pasma, and Jamie Chadwick just losing a little bit of pace here. So Pasma is closing all the while. The Finn is virtually there on the back of the British driver. The Amendola squad looking on. That's me, says Dad. Michelangelo in third place. Now he wants to get onto the back of Pasma, but it's not proving easy to do. Down they come into turn 8 once again here. So there is 55, Jamie Chadwick, and the advantage of 0.554 of a second will have come down fractionally at the end of the second sector. What about at the end of the lap, though? Can Pasma do anything about it? And is there a back marker up the road? Yes, there is. Rima Al Jafali is there, just going out of shot under the graphic at turn 12. So she's going to have to be lapped before the end of the race. Over the timing line goes the race leader, and the gap has gone up a little bit, in fact, 7:10. So Jamie Chadwick pulls out a bit more time in that last sector. Second place, Pasma. Third, Amendola. Amendola doing his best to stay on the back here as they get into the traffic. Jamie Chadwick dives up the inside of Rima Al Jafali. Patrick Pasma through as well, and it looked as though, I'm sure Jamie was confident about it, it looked a bit close there, but Pasma has certainly closed under braking at turn 4. Can he make a push now for the race lead? Let's see. This is the long right of 5. Clock ticks on down. The gap comes down in sector 1 by 3/4 tenths of a second, but now it stretches again up towards turn 7. So Jamie Chadwick it is that leads the pack. Pasma jinks to the inside line. We talked about Deforney trying to unsettle Doohan. Now Pasma is trying to do exactly the same thing to Jamie Chadwick here. Here they turn once more. This is the approach to turn 10. Jink right here. Michelangelo Amendola in third place. Now he needs the 2 ahead to get together and start delaying themselves, but Patrick Pasma has fallen back a little bit, I fear, towards the end of the lap. Yes, the gap has stretched again, so it's the same old problem, getting the dirty air, and it's like driving in the rain. Suddenly you've got to go slower. Over the line, 17 laps are now done. 3 to go for Jamie Chadwick as the leader of the race. Rima Al Jafali about to be lapped by the Doohan Deforney battle. So the order, remember, is Chadwick from Pasma from Amendola. Then it's Esnert, Doohan and Deforney to round out the top 6. We are going to have Patrick Pasma as the third place driver in the championship. He will move ahead in this race of Andreas Esnert on points, assuming things stay as they are. So there is Jamie Chadwick coming up towards turn 4 with Patrick Pasma still keen to get another race win if he possibly can out of all of this, but it's not happening for him just yet, is it? The advantage is not there. He hasn't got the pace and he hasn't got the gap, but he's certainly pushing. So they turn up towards turn 6 once more. Race leader Jamie Chadwick, second Patrick Pasma, third Michelangelo Amendola, proving even though he's quick that he can't really find a way past Pasma on this narrow twisty circuit. Pasma likewise against Jamie Chadwick. So totally different environment this from the modern Dubai and Bahrain circuits at which they have been to, wide tracks, long tracks. Here you come to an old school circuit with a different type of runoff area, a different track width, different facilities, but it's all part of the charm of this MRF Challenge final weekend. It has to be, of course, an MRF's home circuit. The M in MRF for Madras, the former name of Chennai. MRF was the Madras rubber factory when it was created. The 3 leaders go over the line as you look at Doohan and Deforney, who are still there, 5th and 6th, coming down towards turn 12 now. So through they turn, and 55, which is Jamie Chadwick, leads the way. And don't forget, she has also got the fastest lap of the race. So the 2 bonus points go Jamie's way. This is the perfect way, isn't it? To win a championship, you win the race and you take the points for the fastest lap. But can she win it? She's got a lap and a half to go. Pasma right there behind. He would dearly like another race win, but is it going to happen? Let us see as they turn now up through the right-hander of turn 6. Jamie Chadwick leads the way. Second is Pasma. Third is Amendola. And as they accelerate now onto the straight down towards the right at turn 8, is Pasma going to be able to do anything before the very end here? He's also under attack from Amendola, but he closes on Chadwick under braking. Right, left, through they turn. Jamie Chadwick looking so strong up front. Everything Pasma, everything anybody has really tried to dislodge her from a race lead all weekend has failed. Ordinarily, she's been able to drive away. Now, she did early on build up the gap, then it disappeared. But that said, despite all the pressure and perhaps getting a bit fatigued in the car, she has not put a wheel wrong since Pasma arrived right on her tail, and she's maintaining the advantage and she's maintaining all the concentration as well as she comes now out of turn 12 with one more lap to go. Jamie Chadwick leads here in Chennai, and Jamie Chadwick is on her way to winning for the 3rd time this weekend, the 6th time this season, and to win the championship as well. Out of turn 2 she comes then, less than a lap to go. Pasma, I think, he's going to have to settle for second here. So Jamie Chadwick will get the 25 points for the win, plus the 2 for second place, for the fastest lap, whereas Max de Forney, who is mired down in 6th place, will only get 8 for this race. And it means, therefore, that Jamie Chadwick will end the MRF Challenge as a very well-deserved champion. Out of the turn 7 left-hander, down towards turn 8 they come. Jamie Chadwick has got 3 corners to go. This is turn 10. Flicks through the corner, sets the car up for turn 11. And then turn 12 beckons, so does the flag, so does the win, so does the championship. Pasma has got Amendola right up behind him, but with 1 corner to go, the 2018-2019 MRF Challenge champion is Jamie Chadwick. The British girl wins in India, another race win and a championship to go with it. Fantastic result. Jamie Chadwick, who has looked so good all weekend, wins the title. There is the vanquished Max de Forney, who comes through in 6th place. Jamie Chadwick, the winner from Patrick Pasma and Michelangelo Amendola. 4th, Andreas Essner. Jack Doohan is 5th, and Max de Forney finishing in 6th place. But well done, Jamie Chadwick. A great drive. She gets the fastest lap of the race as well, so the 2 bonus points go with that. Job well done. Really, really good job. A GT title and now a single-seater title to go with her race win out of F3 in the UK. That was on a reverse grid race, but here it's been a proper win from the front of the grid on good lap times. Jamie Chadwick takes the crown, and at the risk of offending people that are involved in the W Series, there's an example of a female driver taking on the blokes and beating them in a mixed competition rather than in a category that would segregate the women away from the blokes. But Jamie Chadwick proving that if you've got talent, you can drive anywhere and in anything. And the former Ginetta Junior racer turned GT driver, it was Andrew Howard and his Beechdean Aston Martin team that ran her in GT4 to win that title. And she has impressed in GT cars before making the switch into single-seaters. Rupert Svensson-Cook himself used to race in this, raced as far as British Formula 3. He manages her through his company, Veloci Sports Management, and was saying earlier on in the weekend just how much you can see her ability has changed really in the last 9 months or so, and she has shown it in style here this weekend. So a brilliant result for Jamie Chadwick, a great way to win a championship, and from MRF's point of view, wonderful promotional value because of the feminine touch. But there's Rupert Svensson-Cook in the white t-shirt congratulating Jamie. Brilliant result. The BRDC Rising Stars badge on the overalls, and the BRDC F3 racer stands atop the car as the new champion, Jamie Chadwick. She is absolutely elated, understandably so. Embraces her engineers. And what a day, what a weekend, what a season she's had. new circuits as well. Dubai, Bahrain, and now Chennai. And Jamie Chadwick being congratulated by Boyo, Anthony Hyatt, the technical delegate for the series. But of course it was Boyo for whom she has experience of driving in BRDC F3. And Boyo said, I'll tell you what you need to go and do to get experience of single-seaters. Go and do this and get a bit of winter sunshine. So we'll confirm the result and hear from the drivers very shortly. But here, Jamie Chadwick is the winner of the final round of the MRF Challenge. Patrick Pasma second, Michelangelo Amendola third, Andreas Essner fourth ahead of Jack Doohan, and Max Deforny in sixth place. Well, Jamie Chadwick will have an awful lot of people that she needs to go and say thank you or well done to. And in the queue, I'm sure, is Louise Beckett to say well done to the champion.
Jamie, well done. I'm so pleased for you. That was a great drive all weekend, and you've won the MRF Challenge.
Oh yeah, I still can't believe it. I think that last race was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. That was quite quick initially, but the tyres dropped off quite a lot, so I really had to work for it at the end. I didn't know where Max was either, so I was just trying to do the best I could, and yeah, can't believe it.
What does this mean for you in your career?
It's huge. It's my first ever single-seater championship, and I think it shows how hard we've worked over the past few years, really, and past few months especially. The guys that look after me at Veloce, everyone, they've put in such an effort, and so when things like this come together, it's so hard to get everything to come together and get it right, and so when it does, it's, yeah, I might break down in tears soon.
Oh, well, I've got to ask you another question. So what now?
Oh, so there's a lot going on. Obviously, we're going to enjoy this moment first, and then, yeah, there's all sorts going on this year. We've got a lot planned, hopefully, so fingers crossed it will be another good year.
Well done. Okay, I'm going to move on to our second place, Patrick Pasma, if I can find him. Here he is. He's just behind me here. Patrick, that was, so we get there. That was a good drive from you, really still pushing right at the end.
Yeah, it was all right. You couldn't see that much. The driver in front of me, I think he already came away, so it was all on my visor and couldn't see that much. And also it was really slippery to drive behind him, so yeah, the start wasn't great, but yeah.
That was my next question, actually. It's all in the start here, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, correct.
Okay, and well, another one for you. How are you getting home? Are you flying back?
Yes.
You're going to need another seat or another ticket for all of those trophies.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, it was not bad. It was good, so I'm happy with the result, and yeah, happy.
Come away from Chennai a happy man.
Yeah, of course. Really happy.
Well done, congratulations. David, back to you.
Thanks, Louise. Michelangelo Amendola third, Patrick Pasma second, and Jamie Chadwick, race winner and champion. Excellent job done by Jamie. And in fairness, it's wonderful to see a long weekend of racing like this, where you have so many, and you see how a driver starts off in free practice, a bit average, and then gets better and better and better, and then they start to piece together podium race results as the weekend goes on, and it's just intriguing to see how quickly people develop. Everybody wants to say well done to Jamie Chadwick, it seems, and understandably so. And as she walks towards the podium, the enormity of all of this starts to sink in. Female drivers winning international, as this is, single-seater contests are pretty rare, but she ends the year on 280 points from Max Deforny in second. Patrick Pasma is third, ahead of Andreas Essner, and then Michelangelo Amendola fifth on 172. But what a way to come here. 18 points back, and to be a convincing, a clear champion. The British driver Jamie Chadwick is MRF Challenge champion in 2018-2019. There's a podium to come. The drivers are being made ready. So down in the pit lane, down on the grid, everybody gets ready. The trophies are being prepared, the dignitaries make their way forward, and let's see the reception that Jamie Chadwick gets in a moment when she's called forward. So the podium is ready. The championships coordinator, Prabha Shankar, will introduce the drivers in a moment. And then we will see for third place the Belgian driver, Michelangelo Amendola. So there, Arun Maman on the phone. He will make the presentations. The Vice Chairman and Managing Director of MRF says, right, I've got to go now. Got to go. Busy. Got trophies to present. So the drivers will be brought forward in a moment. Michelangelo Amendola for third place. A really good weekend of podium results for the Belgian driver. Up he comes. And although we're talking about the end of a championship, it's now going to be intriguing to see where these drivers go next, whether they continue in single-seaters or whether they make the move into sports car racing, which continues to be a very happy and for many a very profitable home. There for second place is Patrick Pasma. Whoops, his MRF badge parts company. To cover up rival tyre suppliers from other championships in which he's raced. And then the race winner, the new champion, Jamie Chadwick, for the top step of the podium. It is a third win of the weekend, a sixth of the season, and the championship crown goes with it. Jamie Chadwick, the winner here in Chennai. So there is the race winner, Jamie Chadwick, but the race place trophies to be given first. Third, Michelangelo Amendola. There for second place, Patrick Pasma. And Jamie Chadwick applauds the drivers that she has beaten, because she takes win number 6 of the season, and with it, the huge winner's trophy. Lots of applause for the top 3 in the race. Jamie Chadwick taking win number 6 out of the 15. 5 different winners we had across the course of the season. Everybody now huddles together for the group photograph. And Jamie Chadwick is all smiles in the centre. So the drivers make their way from the podium. And then we may in a moment have the top 3 in the championship as well being presented. We shall await confirmation of that in a moment's time. A great weekend of action as ever here at the Madras Motor Race Track. And I think podium's done. We may be able to enjoy some highlights of that final MRF Challenge race. It was a race that began with Patrick Pasma on pole position being outgunned by Jamie Chadwick, and Max Deforny making a pop start as well, and he fell way, way back into the midfield as they rounded turn 1 for the first time. He got stuck behind Jack Doohan, did Deforny, and he spent most of the race looking for a way past him as Linus Lundqvist yet again had gear selection dramas, and that caused him to drop down the order. Doohan and Deforny squabbled for much of the race, but there was nothing the Belgian driver could do. But as the tyres dropped off late in the race, so Jamie Chadwick started to be caught by Patrick Pasma. He in turn was under attack from Michelangelo Amendola. At the checkered flag, it was win number 6 and the championship for Jamie Chadwick at the end of not only a superb weekend for her, but a superb winter season in international single-seater racing. Jamie Chadwick is the winner of the race and the MRF Challenge champion.